It's day 17 out of 25 days, betting on the sports, the football and the horses ahead of the summer holidays to make some money. Not the golf, because although last week I mentioned on day one I was on Davis Thompson 25-1, I was on him outright on the exchange as well. We don't include the golfers on these videos because there's only a finite number of golfers that win every week. This week there's only going to be 3 in Live, PGA and DP World. And for those that subscribe to either Weekly Golf Value or just to get the tips, or Bookie Bashing to get the golf racing tracker, when there's only a finite number of tournaments winners, it would probably be a little bit frustrating to hear those high value selections going up for free on YouTube, and that's understandable, which is why we're sticking to horses and football. There's a lot more opportunity to be diverse there. For me personally, it was a very good weekend for my bankroll. And actually it's quite interesting to look at the golf sort of long-term variance. Since the beginning of the year, we were running a loss on the selections we'd taken out of the tracker all the way up to May, which is a long time. And there have been some rumblings about the golfers aren't even placing anymore. But now we're in quite healthy profits through to July, and it just shows the variance involved in a sport where there's 2 or 3 tournaments per week. It can be quite significant, but then when you look at it over 5 years, not so much. And a little bit the same with the horses. We've had a couple of losing days and a couple of questions through actually about recent losses. We have had a lot of rain, and that has equated to a lot of non-runners. We've looked at the data. We haven't necessarily seen a significant pattern between a difference in return on investment when there has been rain and when there hasn't been rain. But someone did ask the question, is the Bookie Bashing tracker still profitable when it's raining? I can understand the question, but I can also sort of suggest maybe we can be a little bit wary of these correlations where we look at our results and then we look out the window and we say, hold on, I can see a pattern with my results and the rain that I saw out the window, so perhaps I'm coming up with something here. We can also look at UFO sightings in Rhode Island between 1975 and 2011 and see that it correlates with the total number of successful Mount Everest climbs. It's a rough power log through those years. Is there a correlation? I'll leave it to you to decide. The second question is, I've tried betting in shops, football coupons and on horses, and every time I go to the counter, it seems that the odds are cut and I can't take the bet. So, yes, it's a different game in the shops than it is online. Online, the odds are cut in real time in front of us, and so, if we were thinking of betting on something and we know the odds are cut, we can make an instant decision. Whereas in shops, they're not cut sometimes until we go to the counter, and there's this sort of hidden cloak of secrecy and a game of cat and mouse that we've always had to play. Long since before we started Bookie Bashing, we're betting on football coupons. You go up to the counter, you find out that 1, 2 or all teams are cut. Now, here's the mental gymnastics that you need to play. Now, let's do an extreme, okay? You're betting on 2 football teams that are both 100-1 on the coupon. You go to the counter, you find that they're 1-10. Now they've been cut to that. Well, obviously you're losing money if you continue to place that bet. And if you place that bet over and over and over again, you're going to be doing nothing but giving money to the bookmaker. Now, let's say you're betting on 7 football teams on the football coupon, and one is cut from 11-4 to 5-2. Now, it's very likely that if your overall slip was 120, 130%, that's still going to be a good bet. Yes, that team's not an optimal team to put in, but you could keep him in. You're still getting a plus EV bet, overall slip, and also you're not standing out to the staff and the cameras in the bookmakers being completely price sensitive. Now, that's 2 extreme examples. What if it was 110% slip and 3 teams are cut? Maybe not just cut once, but cut twice. Now we're sort of thinking you might have jumped down to a 99% EV coupon. Do you take it? Well, one argument could be if you are doing 1,000 bets over the year and 950 of those bets are, 110% or better, and 50 of those bets are like 98%, 99%, what's your overall profit loss going to look like? It's still going to look good. It's the overall picture, and you're not rejecting that bet and you're getting more volume down. So whilst there's some mental gymnastics involved, and whilst we understand that there are some ranges of horses at William Hill, the sort of medium-priced horses, 5 to 1 up to 20 to 1, that they tend to be one interval lower at, as long as your bet is good enough, as long as it's not 100.01% EV, and as long as you're doing enough of them, then in the long term you should still be making some money. That's my thoughts, and those are my personal risk tolerance strategies. Yours may be different. It comes down to the individual. Looking at William Hill today, there's a 150 to 1 horse out there. That's a big old EV horse, and I've actually mixed them up with some negative EV horses just to fill out a lucky 15. That'll be line out 433 at Utoxter, 150 to 1, 3 places 1 to 5. In with Inui in the next race at Utoxter, 33 to 1. Jahol de Thay in the last race at Utoxter, 805, 4 to 1. I think it's the last race, might not be. And Fox Vision, 11 to 4 at the 225 in Lingfield. One more bet at William Hill, Harbour Vision, 33 to 1. Razzle Dazzle Boy, Fan Magnet, and Guard Duty in the 433 in Utoxter. That's it for William Hill. At Betfred, Mrs. Maisel, 20 to 1. Harbour Vision, 33 to 1. Butler's Brief at 9 to 1. And Jahol de Thay again at 3 places, 1 to 5. At the 805 at Utoxter's value. And the last lucky 15, the 4th one today at Bedford, Lord Accord Theatrically, Astral Bow, and Gatanfar at the 1717 at Pontefract, 9 to 2. So those are the lucky 15s today. Now, of more interest today is Spain versus France. It is, Alexa, what time is it, please?
The time is 12:24 p.m.
So a good 7.5 hours before kickoff, 6.5 hours before team news. But I'm not doing a video tonight at 7 o'clock, so hopefully there will be more value and more bets that I'm on. They won't be included in this video series. I've gone for a front 6 at Spain of Olmo, Danny Olmo, who came on as a substitute in the last game for Pedri, so he's obviously starting ahead of him in this game, and we were all over Pedri, both backing and laying. Rodri, Ruiz, and then up front Williams, Morata, and Yamal. For France, Conte, Tchouaméni, who just always seems to be value for some reason. Rabiot, Dembele, Muani, and Mbappe. So those are the guys I'm assuming are going to start, and those are the guys I've plugged into my player XG model. So whether or not this value changes significantly if other players are starting, I don't know. But one person that has jumped out is Mr. Kylian Mbappe. He does have a brother, Ethan, that plays for Paris Saint-Germain, which caused a lot of difficulty one day when the service that sent us the team news included Ethan instead of Kylian, but they did that by mistake. And then all of a sudden, all the numbers went crazy. So it's always worthwhile checking that the team news that we have been sent by an external party is correct. Normally it is, but if it isn't, you can edit it yourself. And you can let us know, and we can edit it for everybody as well. Regardless, Kylian to score first in the game, I think should be closer to 7.0. 7.8 is available. I got 7.6, so I'll be logging the 7.6 down. Now, to get 2 goals in the match, I mean, I didn't want the bet. It wasn't something I was targeting because, look, semi-finals from 2 years ago were 1-1 and 1-1, or 3 years ago, and then the final was 1-1. And I don't think any player has 2 goals in the game. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe there's one player, but just multiple goals from a player doesn't look like the kind of thing that happens very often throughout this tournament. And how many goals are expected in this game? 2.11. It's a low scoring expectancy between Spain and France. Mbappe's hardly shined throughout this tournament, but I can't ignore 20.00 for him to get 2 goals. I can't ignore 7.6 for him to get the first goal. I can't ignore him to get a shot on target at 1.73. I think that's about 106%. I can't ignore him to get a card at 7 because I think that's about 110%. So a lot of Kylian Mbappe things here, all backing. If he goes off in the second minute having done nothing, then we're going to be a lose. And on that subject, I actually can see This is one of those, the difference between advantage play and value betting, the traditional tips is it would be very easy for me to say, can't see many goals tonight, 0-0, 1-1, 1-0, 0-1. Let's all back the under of 2.5, which just come in for every final and every semi-final for the history of mankind. The problem is the markets aren't throwing anything up that. If anything, they're throwing stuff on the other side. And whilst my heart would say that under 1.5, under 2.5 is the way forward, my head is what I have to go with. And so therefore, with betting without emotion, I'm betting on both teams to score in the first half, yes, at 8. That's about 111%. I'm betting on France to have a goal, over 0.5 goals in the first half at 2.82. That's 102%. Nice if it would be Mbappe. Quite a few things come in if that's the case. Most corners in the match. I'm laying Spain at 1.79 because 1.91 would be closer to fair odds there. Bunch of players to get a card. 5 players. I already spoke about Mbappe. Rodri at 3.6, Rabiot at 5.5, Nico Williams at 7, and Dembele at 8. Assuming the lineup that I've gone with, that should be okay. Player to have over 1.5 fouls, backing William Saliba at 4.8. Player to have over 1.5 tackles, laying Yamal at 1.82. Both of those about 107, 108%. Dutching the first goal scorer with Tchouameni because 30 looks high with him. So Mbappe and Tchouameni, 7.6 and 30. And finally, I'm on a couple of things that aren't France versus Spain. So I've got an early player to have over 0.5 fouls with England versus Netherlands. Virgil van Dijk looks big at 1.59. That's 115%. That's being held up by it's being boosted somewhere and just the layers are going in there and they're holding it here when it should be here. And I'm like, thanks very much, layers. And except the layers, by the way, that just be careful. I saw one up today, which was actually this bet, Alcaraz and Sinner, both to win 3-0. Now, I'm on at 8.8. I saw, before I tried to get 8.8, because I made it about 8.2 earlier. It has drifted to 8.68, and I will log 8.68 for a measly 101.38% EV bet. But someone had put up 88. They put a backup of at 88. So they were hoping that a layer would come along. I don't know if the back odds are 9.0. They might be. I haven't looked. But they might back at 9.0 and then lay 88. Well, do you know what? If you're doing that, have a word. In fact, I tweeted that out. And do you know who is going to have a word? BetDAC are going to have a word. Because that's a real horrible, cheesy angle shoot. And if I was running an exchange, you wouldn't be back after doing something like that. It's just like, if you saw someone drop their wallet in the street with 50 quid in it, right in front of you, would you pick it up and give it to them, or would you pick it up, take the £50 out and give it to them? Because I don't see any difference between that and sticking an 88 up on the exchange. Whatever it is that you're betting on, good luck today across the horses in the rainy weather and in the football. Good to see the Euros back. Those are my bets today. We'll be back tomorrow for England versus Switzerland.